Hey everybody, I'm thrilled to be here today. And we are going to talk about how you can accelerate business transformation within your companies. Business transformation across the key operational processes that power your business, such as procure to pay, order to cash, the financial accounting processes, manufacturing. And we're going to show you how you can make these processes way more powerful, achieve better outcomes, while at the same time improving and driving productivity. And it's not just me here today on stage. I have two of our most exciting and innovative customers joining me today. Brian Turner, the Vice President of IT at Chart Industries, and Nikki Spillers, the North American Director of Shared Services from Chart Industries. They are going to join me, and they also can give you an idea of how you can get on the stage here next year. Because Brian, 1 year ago, was sitting exactly where you sit today, in this session. He liked what he saw, became a customer, was very successful driving transformation within his organization, and now he's here on stage with me. And last year we were here with Rick Hassman, who's in the audience. Hi, Rick. Good to see you. So yeah, we are very, very excited. And back up and first talk a bit about Celonis. So we work with leading companies across 30 different countries and more than 20 different industries. And we help them drive transformation across their key operational processes, some of the ones that I just mentioned. One great example is Siemens. They've been really able to achieve impressive results with process mining across their business. They apply our technology across all of their key business processes. And this is what they achieved within their order-to-cash process, one of their most important processes, order to cash. And they are obviously one of the largest manufacturers globally, processing tens of millions of orders. And they've been able to reduce 10 million manual touches, repetitive manual work that they don't have to do anymore, achieve a 24% higher rate of automation, while at the same time reducing rework by 11%. This was featured at the Gartner Symposium last week on the keynote, so I wanted to share it with you. And they really also improve customer outcomes. Any business process they have, they are able to improve. And why are they doing this? Why are companies turning to Celonis to really transform the processes? And there's two main economic drivers that drive this trend and this shift. One is customer expectations. You notice it yourself when you order an Uber and it takes 9 minutes for a private car to show up on your doorstep. It takes 9 minutes and you think that's too slow, right? 9 minutes? I want it in 3. Or when you go on Netflix and you pick your favorite TV show and it takes 30 seconds to load. It feels too slow. And this is really these customer expectations that haven't existed before. You expect instantaneous and perfect service, perfect delivery, like you're getting it from Amazon. And it actually doesn't matter whether you're in the B2B or the B2C space. Your customers are people, and people have these expectations today. And you need to look at how can we change our business, how can we transform our business to deliver a flawless and perfect customer experience. That's one of the big drivers. The other big driver we see is every company, every business, and every economy has to drive productivity every single year to stay competitive and also to have room to grow. And historically, companies have for a long time driven productivity by outsourcing pieces of their business, by basically taking the same tasks and processes and trying to find and apply cheaper labor to do the same work. But now, globally, labor rates are equalizing. And in the developed economies like the United States, population growth is actually slowing down. So labor is in shorter supply, and at the same time, becoming more expensive. So how do you drive productivity when labor becomes more expensive? The only possibility to do that is to work more intelligently. And those are really the two megatrends that we see why companies look to transform their business. It's really an imperative. If you look at 1955, only 12% of the companies, of the Fortune 500 companies from 1955, remain Fortune 500 companies today. And this is something that is only going to accelerate with the pace of innovation over the next years. So this is why companies look to transform their business. But how do you do that? It is very hard. I mean, all of the customers we work with and all of the companies you work for are sizable organizations where processes spawn across multiple functional departments, like an order-to-cash process that goes across the supply chain, the sales department, the accounting department. And many of these departments have worked this for tens of years. So how do you transform these organizations? How do you really effect substantial and sustainable change within these businesses? And this is what we are focused on at Celonis. We help you understand what is going on in your company and help you drive effective and successful transformation throughout your business. And it's all based on a technology called process mining. Process mining takes the flow of information across your operational IT systems, your ERP systems, your IT service management systems, your key systems that power your business, and automatically is able to mine and understand your business process to help you affect change. It all starts with collecting the events from systems like JD Edwards, from systems like the e-business suite, and we've built a capability around being able to quickly and easily connect and collect these events. And then you can discover your as-is process, analyze this process, and drive action to change and transform these processes. And I'm going to switch to a demo and show you how this actually works. So this is a manufacturing company using Oracle e-business suite for their order-to-cash process. There's a few other systems involved in the order-to-cash process, and they want to transform their business. Obviously, order-to-cash is one of the key business processes of this organization. It's one of the most important processes they have. And what you see here within Celonis is the system automatically discovers how this process is actually working. So what you see here is not a modeled picture of the process, not a to-be process, not how a consultant or somebody internally thinks this process works, but it's the as-is, the actual business process that is going on. And we found 1 million sales orders and around 1 billion in volume. So it's a sizable organization here. And what we see here, see it on the screen, is the as-is process becoming fully visible and transparent. So we see it all starts with receiving an order, confirming this order, generating a delivery, shipping the physical product, sending an invoice, clearing that invoice, and the process is done. And now you probably sit there and say, okay, this looks, when we implemented our ERP system, this is how we designed it, right? So what's the new revolutionary thing here? And the interesting thing is what Celonis did here. It didn't just discover this first variation of the process. It discovered over 1,000 different variations. So this is just the happy path. This is just one out of 1,000 variations in your business. And we can see this here. So here we see that only 42% of all your orders flow through this happy and straightforward path. And now we can go and discover all the different variations from this path. So as we extend the coverage, we see there's a second variation. In 68,000 times, we have to extend the confirmed delivery date. So we confirm an order to our customer. We say, we're going to deliver it on Monday. And then we have to call them and say, sorry, can't make it on Monday. We have to extend. And that happens 168,000 times in this company, massively affecting both customer experience and productivity at the same time. And this was just the second variation. We see more and more variations, and those are all opportunities to transform, all opportunities to improve. We see here in 156,000 cases, we get an order, and before we can confirm it, we have to approve the credit. The question is, why does that happen 156,000 times? Can we maybe reduce it? I mean, in general, credit checks might be necessary, but can we reduce it? And also, we can look at how much time are we spending doing these credit checks. And you see that if the process is straight, it takes a day. If it goes through a credit check, it takes 5 days. So we just added 4 days to our order-to-cash process, delaying our working capital and making our customer experience, also affecting our customer experience. And the more and more of these variations we show, the more we see everything that's going on in our business. We see there's a lot of different variations here. We see in some cases we deny credit only to approve it later. We see in some cases we get an order, but the price isn't correct and we have to change it. In some cases, the route of shipment has to be changed during the shipment process. We see in some cases we get returns. We have to send payment reminders. So we see a lot of variation in our business process. And this is the start of every transformation journey. Understanding how your business works today in detail to then understand how we can drive transformation and where change will have the biggest impact. If we move to 100%, this is always the funny picture here, you see, there's tremendous variation in the process. And this is why transformation is a challenge, but at the same time a huge opportunity. And Celonis, the process discovery, now allows you to find the most impactful routes, find the most impactful things to improve, and then to act on it. This is the first component that we call process discovery. The second component is called process analytics. And process analytics now allows you, on top of this discovered process, to find out what are the root causes for these things. Why do we really have to do 156,000 credit checks, taking us 4 days on average? Why? Can we change that? Can we transform that? Can we become more effective? And this really allows you to go into each and every of these variations and understand why this is happening, understand the root causes of these variations. So if I go into this, I can filter on the credit checks and then look at the customers. And then I see the first customer, Queen Industries. We obviously anonymized this data set, but we see the first customer, Queen Industries, 7,500 credit checks for one single customer. I mean, I might as well once decide I want to do business with this customer or not, but I don't have to confirm their credit 7,500 times for 4.4 million in spend. It's a huge opportunity to accelerate the customer experience for this customer and save a lot of manual work. Second customer, 2,480 credit checks with one single customer. So this is really these things that you identify, that you suddenly start seeing, and then starting to improve and transform your business. Next thing is benchmarking. You can actually go in and identify, and we will hear some of this from Chart later, identify how different parts of your organization work. and how different parts of your organization execute your business, in order to understand where do we have best practices, where can we learn, and how can we apply a sharing and standardization across our business. There's many, many more components to process discovery and analytics, but this is really an overview that allows you to see what you can do. I want to highlight two more capabilities. One capability that we added on top of this process analytics engine, which is called the Action Engine. And the Action Engine allows you to now involve your entire company into the business transformation. So it allows you to involve every single user, you see a few examples here, into the business transformation, giving them very concrete, actionable recommendations on what to do next. So if I go on Olivia's screen here, Olivia is one order management clerk in this company. This gives her concrete, actionable recommendations on what to change, what to do in her day-to-day to affect better outcomes. So based on machine learning, we can say, Olivia, we have to prioritize this credit check for this particular order to increase the probability of on-time delivery. We tell her, you have to bring this ERP transit time up to date, because the transit time in the ERP system differs from the actual transit time it takes. So here we can really take these incredible insights and drive transformation with many little things throughout the day-to-day of your employees. And then lastly, we've built an intelligent business app store that includes over 300 pre-packaged analyses and applications for various different source systems and processes that help you get started immediately. So this includes things like Oracle-based processes, SAP, Salesforce, Microsoft, HP Service Manager, any operational system you have is included here, and we have pre-packaged applications that help you jumpstart your Celonis and your transformation journey. And with that, we will go back to the presentation. Because what am I here really to tell you about how you transform your business with Celonis? Much better if one of your peers tells you how they approached it at Chart Industries and how they make a massive impact on some of their key operational business processes. So I'm thrilled to announce Brian Turner, the Vice President of IT of Chart Industries. Thanks, Brian, for joining me. Who's going to talk about Chart's transformation. I think I have to give you this clicker.
Right. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Is that software amazing or what? You might have been lucky enough to attend Gartner's symposium last week. Indirectly, that was the keynote at Gartner's symposium. It can help you digitally transform your business. Whether it's a digital assistant or a digital twin, as you hear Gartner refer to it as. Let me introduce myself a little bit more. I've been in the IT world for over 20 years. Currently, I have responsibility at Chart for 3 pillars, one being security, that is cybersecurity, as well as physical security, infrastructure, second, applications, third. I find myself more focused on digital transformation these days. That said, I cut my teeth on ERP implementations, too many ERP implementations, and they continue. I've always thought very highly of IT business analysts. Those are the folks that know the logic in your business. They know the as-is processes, and they know the deficiencies when they start to define the to-be processes. So I've been in the Oracle J.D. Edwards world for over 20 years, like I mentioned. Chart has been using Oracle J.D. Edwards for 15 plus years. We are currently code current on 9.2.2.4 as of March 2018. We like to be forward in technology. That said, I've always thought and wondered, what else can we get value out of in regards to the ERP big data? And lo and behold, Celonis came along. Flashback 1 year, as Alex mentioned, I sat here in the same session that was almost geared just like this one. One of our peers, which I believe is here today, Rick Hassman, was talking about his story of digital transformation with Pella at the time. And as the presentation went on and on, I really felt like I'm having an aha moment here. I literally felt like I just got my iPhone 3. So a little bit more about Chart. Two brothers, Charles and Arthur, put their names together to form Chart. This was over 50 years ago. They came up with a technology called a brazed aluminum heat exchanger. Fast forward, air-cooled heat exchangers, etc. That's our energy and chemicals division or segment. We have two other segments, distribution and storage, east and west. They operate very similarly. You may ask, what is a brazed aluminum heat exchanger? Well, it helps you transform gases. So think of natural gas, you have to liquefy it, and then you have to store it. So that's why we have those three segments. If you take that even colder, we take it to cryogenic levels. That's why our ticker symbol on the NASDAQ is GTLS, Gas to Liquid Services. We think of our company as an engineer-to-order business sometimes. Our engineers are the gems of our business. We are innovators. We make our equipment bigger and better than anybody in the industry. Where we play. So, if you look in the middle at number 10, you'll see a red barn. And I mentioned cryogenics earlier. We have been involved in the original AI, artificial insemination, not to be confused with artificial intelligence. We also have customers both upstream and downstream in the gas service business. Our products are engineered for them. Customers can be the rocket in number 26, SpaceX, helping them with vacuum insulated piping. It could be a BP, a Chevron, a Shell on the upstream, getting the gases out of the ground, out of the air, helping them transform. It could be downstream, moving the gases with customers such as Praxair, Air Liquide, Airgas. So you'll see we have equipment that allows you to transport gases on barges and ships safely, as well as trains, as well as help run your power plants. Here's a few more pictures or images of our products. Up in the left-hand corner, I mentioned tanks or vessels. You can think of those as a Yeti drink glass in regards to the vacuum insulated seal that is in place. Although in our case, we put proprietary NASA grade insulation in there and do all kinds of wild engineering around it. Those can be as big as half a football field in size. Moving down to the right-hand corner, you'll see an example of a brazed aluminum heat exchanger. As you can see, there's a person in there, and it gives you the scale to how big this is. A lot of steel, a lot of aluminum, a lot of carbon. Sometimes it takes 70-ton cranes back to back just to move it up and down the bay. In the bottom left, we have our cool factor in regards to the craft brewery or coffee industries. As you can see in there, there's a piece of equipment that allows you to dose the can or the bottle as it's going through the process of manufacturing and allowing the oxygen to expel with a drop of nitrogen, thus giving you more time on the shelf. So, up in the right-hand corner, I already mentioned the other AI. As you can imagine, our business model is pretty complex. Every business is in the customer service business, and we're on the clock. Just like Alex mentioned, 9 minutes for an Uber, 30 seconds to download your Netflix, it's too long. It's an on-demand society these days, and it's parlaying into the business world. We have to figure out ways to speed up the back office, whether it's accounts receivable, accounts payable, the entire order-to-cash process, sourcing. We need to find ways to do that. It's imperative not just to keep the IT world running. IT is now asked to sit in that digital transformation seat and figure out ways to help collaborate with our business partners. This is your opportunity to look at products like Celonis, like robotic process automation, to help advance that relationship forward and move your companies forward. So, the chart story. Our CFO, or our former CFO, now our CEO, formulated a steering committee for shared services as she joined the organization. She set out a simple vision for us to figure out how to speed up heading towards shared service centers. We dubbed it Chart Business Services, and that set the tone for digital transformation. We needed to find products that could effectively help us move forward, and this was the case for Celonis. We had 3 drivers. Cost out. Celonis helps you identify cost out. You can analyze through their OLAP tables. It's amazing software. Standardizing. As we headed towards those 3 global shared service centers, we needed to come together on our 3 segments and bring those processes together. And we needed a way to measure that with KPIs. Celonis allows you to do that. Finally, we needed to reduce the manual touches. What is the perfect sales order? What is the perfect purchase order? How do you do straight-through processing? How do you get away from the Delta airline flight pattern map that Alex just showed? How? With Celonis. We're excited about the future with Celonis because not only does it help support those 3 drivers, but it also helps us head towards robotic process automation and other goals to have that digital assistant or that digital twin for our staff. We want to be able to empower our employees through products such as Celonis. With that said, I'm going to turn it over to Nikki Spillers, our North America Director of Shared Services. She's going to dive a little bit deeper into the how. I'm excited to see her. Come on.
Great job. Hi, I'm excited to be here today. As Brian said, I'm Nikki Spillers. I lead our Chart Business Services, and that includes accounts receivable, accounts payable, payroll, and record to report. Through my career, I've had the opportunity to lead many transactional accounting teams through numerous system implementations. In the last few years, I really got to focus on business process management throughout our organization. As Brian said, over the last year, we built our shared services divisions, which we have in North America, Europe, and Asia. And now we're to the point where we need to standardize and automate. And Celonis has the tools to help us accomplish this. As a leader through the organization, I really need to have myself and my team be able to try and answer the questions that people are wanting to ask. What issues are they having? Do they even know that they're having problems with these issues? Working with my team, we're always trying to figure out the why of our processes. And it's hard to find the time, and sometimes people throughout the organization bought in to figure out those issues. My first experience with Celonis was actually my job interview with Chart. I was really excited to work with Chart, and as I learned what they're focused on. They are really excited about technology, as Brian mentioned, robotics, and their mind frame is really focused on efficient processes and making what we do easier. And in my job interview, my now boss actually pulled up Celonis, and we went through it, and I was really, really excited. The way you can get out KPI metrics to the organization quickly, daily if you need to, and then for somebody like myself who I've been working with mass data for years, to be able to see that visual image of what that data represents, like Alex showed earlier, and be able to see where you should focus. We have that happy path of what we're doing well, but where do we need to work on? Where are we adding steps or days to the process that we don't need to, and we could make the process a lot quicker? As everyone knows, the business changes quickly, and the questions people are asking change just as quickly. You need to know your customer. What do they want? When do they want it? And when you're working through process efficiencies, you don't want to just remove issues in silos. You want to work through your process from beginning to end and understand how the changes you may make in one group affect upstream and downstream. A lot of times we all have to put Band-Aids on to fix issues quickly, but as with any Band-Aid, they end up at some point needing to be removed or they stop working. And we may or may not still be there with our teams when we need to figure out those issues. So looking at some opportunities we uncovered with Celonis for accounts receivable, along my journey with Celonis, we really found that we had to understand our data. You need to make sure that the metrics that you're putting out are telling the story that you want them to tell. And you need to have a reconciliation plan ahead of time. So you don't spend the time explaining why that the data is correct. You can just focus on reviewing your processes. We were able to find a lot of data discrepancies. As we do business throughout the world, each center does things differently. And so we were able to implement some changes pretty quickly just by changing some settings in our ERP system that help us save money just on customer discounts, approximately $250,000 year over year, just from some data discrepancies. I'm going to take you through one example where Celonis was able to put together a value realization pretty quickly with the data that's already in our application. So as Brian talked about, we have 3 main business drivers right now, and the first one is cost out goals or on-time payments. So standardizing our processes really allow our metrics to tell a story. They also allow us to automate. If we can get all of our business service groups to process transactions the same way, then we can put robotics on top of them and really add value to the organization. So in the Celonis findings, they were able to find that, one, late payments are hurting our working capital. It's tying up, or we're not getting the money that we should be when we're expecting to get it. It was also a small group of customers that are driving those late payments. And really just one payment term is tied to these late payments. So we have an action that we can implement where we can re-engage with these customers, see why they're paying late. Is it something that we're doing? Are we giving them the information that they need to make the payments in not an efficient way where they can make them on time or that works with their business? Or do they need different payment terms? If we set up payment terms that allow them to pay on time, whether they're longer or not, we can plan our working capital efficiently. So based on that, we estimate annual savings of approximately $2 million just from making that change. We also talk about standardizing and streamlining global processes. So Alex touched on this earlier. The days of just being able to outsource and save on costs are coming to an end. How do we make the lives of our team members simpler and more enjoyable and give them more value-add work and a challenge on their day-to-day? In looking at the Celonis findings, we have actually 120 different payment terms across all of our three regions. And just in Asia, we had 63 of them. So when you think about our credit analysts that work with these customers on a day-to-day business, it's very hard for them to do their jobs efficiently when they have to keep up with the different payment terms that each customer has. By looking through the industry and seeing what other companies are doing, the best practices, how can we standardize our processes and reduce the complexity of how we're doing our day-to-day, speed up operations, as well as help accelerate migration to our global business. It is very imperative for us, especially at Chart, as we are growing organically, as well as acquiring other synergies within our business model. How do we automate so operational growth doesn't mean FTE growth? And how can we enable our existing team members to add more value by removing manual touches within the process? And last, reducing manual touches. So Celonis allows you to do root cause analysis. Alex has mentioned this numerous times and showed you in the demo. Most people think of fixing issues as it affects their job, their role, and their team. And Celonis allows you to get to that root cause issue. When you're fixing something in a silo, a lot of times you're not thinking about the beginning and the end of the process, and so that issue is going to pop up again, and you're just going to have to throw resources at it. So in looking at the Celonis findings, we found that, as you know, customers are paying late, but they're also leaving cash discounts on the table. Do they know that they're leaving cash discounts on the table? Have they quantified the dollar value of those cash discounts that they're not realizing? It makes debt collection very frustrating for my team when they're having to call these customers, and the friction that it causes of how nobody likes to be called and told that they owe money and that they're behind, and that it could possibly affect future orders. In our business, we are very project related, or we're set up with projects, and they're very time sensitive, and the materials to bring in to do those projects, and if you find that your order's on hold because you haven't paid your invoices, it can cause a lot of issues. So by reevaluating the terms to reduce the late payments, it can really help automation within the system as well as our relationship with our customers. So instead of trying to sell, when you're working with other groups within the organization, Celonis gives you the backup to make the changes that you want to make. Instead of speaking conceptually, you can show them with the process mining that Alex showed, where are we doing well and where do we need to focus. And you can really get started. A lot of times when you do have to sit back and do a Lean or Six Sigma process, it really delays how quickly you can get moving on making those changes. And Celonis helps you get started a lot quicker. So that was just one process that we looked at in Celonis. We're really excited to get started on some other initiatives, bringing in other groups within our organization, and really driving change throughout the organization. As we've mentioned, Celonis really helps with immediate visibility to see where you need to focus your efforts, savings on when you make changes within your system to either get your customer discounts, as we saw, set up correctly, get quicker working capital. You see the savings right away. The system's very fast-paced and flexible, and we find it very actionable. We can see what we need to do and get moving on it.